Now, these two Stingray I have shown you before. Both of these are from Matchbox. They are radically different scales, as you can see. But I now have one of the action figures. So here we have Mr. Troy Tempest. And he will fit quite happily into the cockpit of the larger Stingray, of course, which is lovely. I've also Commander Shaw, and when I first got him, I tried to fit him into the Stingray, thinking that he would go in the back here, but unfortunately he doesn't, and I really thought that they might have had, given some thought to the fact that had his sort of hover wheelchair been just a little bit shorter lengthwise, he could have got in there, but they didn't go for that, it would seem. So unfortunately, he cannot fit into Stingray, but I have established, however, that Troy here could sit in the back quite comfortably. So if you had the Phones figure, which I understand is a lot harder to get hold of than the Troy figure, then you could fit him in as well. So they could pair up and pilot the craft in that fashion. Also, there's this Marina as well. And these came in little sort of white boxes, which I assume means that they were send-away figures. But these are these little boxes that I got them in. As you can see, it's copyright 1993 Tyco Toys, but the original license is 1992. And Matchbox Toys of Rugby at the time, it seems. So there was a interesting little bit of history. So that was that. Now, as I say, I've shown you these two Matchbox toys before, but that isn't what I want to show you. But I do want to compare this large Stingray with another one that I've just picked up, which boggles my mind slightly because of when it was made. I commented on the original video for these Stingrays that they came a long time after the original time of the series, but this one is even later. So here I have a Carlton Vivid Imaginations Stingray, and if I line these up, you can see that whilst it isn't quite as big as the Matchbox Stingray, I really like it. I haven't got it out of its box, although looking at it now on camera, I've just noticed it does have a bit of a flip up there. It's not quite mint on its card, but it's still not in bad shape. But I rather like the colours on this. They're just popping that little bit more than the Matchbox. Granted, the Matchbox is 10 years older, but that's the funny thing. So I was having a squint at this, and you've got this little sort of Troy Tempest minifigure. So this is a far smaller scale of figure than the original Matchbox versions, and in fact, that's not unusual for Carlton, because when I think about it, I've recently looked at their Thunderbird 4, another submersible, and the minifigure for the Carlton version of that is also very, very small, as compared with the large Matchbox International Rescue figures that are the same scale as the Stingray ones. So, they're all from the same era, basically. Now, this has got a working wind-up motor. It fires 2 torpedoes, and I've got my 2 torpedoes, so this is, complete. It's actually got a periscope that's not broken as well, which is always a nice thing. And obviously, as I say, the little mini Troy Tempest, that's trying to come off the card as well. I can just get my finger in underneath there, but I don't think it's been off the card. Now you can see it, this is an interesting little bit here. I think that's where it pulls, that's where it sort of winds up. So you twist that to wind it up, and then presumably the sort of the engine just spins there. You've got a little cut out there for Captain Troy Tempest. Cut out your collector's card, it says. So it was set in 2065 from Stingray. And it's Marineville, the World Aquanaut Security Patrol, WASP, fights against the evil Titan and the Aquamphibians, grotesque undersea warriors in the quest for world peace. WASP's most powerful asset is the sleek and deadly underwater craft Stingray, captained by intrepid Troy Tempest. Helping him are Phones, the brave radio expert, Commander Sam Shaw, who is the chap in the hover wheelchair, his daughter Atlanta, and Marina, the voiceless, tailless mermaid. So yes, so wind-up motor powers Stingray through the water. That's all good. quite interesting sort of underneath colour. I don't know if that's particularly sort of show accurate, but there it is. These don't come up very often on eBay. But interestingly, I've just noticed here now that they are part of the Soundtech range, which again makes perfect sense because that's the Thunderbird 3 from the Soundtech range, which I have. So all of these obviously came out at about the same time. But that means that this Stingray came out, from the looks of it, in 2001. So, that's really incredibly tough on because it's trademark and copyright 1964. So that is the span of Stingray as a series. So it was 37 years old when this toy was released. That's incredible longevity. It really, really is phenomenal longevity. There probably aren't that many series which have had toys produced for them for that long, even if there are gaps in between, obviously. But there's also these other playsets that you can collect here, although those are actually Thunderbird based. Those are International Rescue ones, those ones. But they're obviously doing a lot of sort of cross pollination there in terms of selling the Gerry Anderson toys, which makes perfect sense. I mean, why would you not do? But I have to say though, as toys go, Carlton and Vivid Imaginations were probably knocking it out of the park with that, as with their other Thunderbird offerings. And I was looking at my overall collection upstairs, and actually the Carlton models, the Soundtech models, by far and away give you the most complete set of large Thunderbirds you can get, because no one else really did a similarly scaled Thunderbird 1, 2 and 3 all at the same time. And definitely didn't do Stingray all at the same... Well, actually, I say didn't do Stingray. Matchbox did Stingray, of course, but they didn't do, that I've ever seen, a Thunderbird 3. They did do a sort of Thunderbird 1, but not in the same scale as everything else. So it's really odd. I was going to do a video which showed off the sort of the various complete ranges, but actually I thought the ranges were never actually that complete. So what's even more bizarre is that even the most recent Thunderbirds Are Go range never released a sort of supersized Thunderbird 1. Because the Thunderbird 3 was great, but they never did the Thunderbird 1. I think presumably they just didn't sell enough of the other two to justify producing it. I don't know. If anyone knows why the Thunderbird 1 in that range didn't get produced, that'd be quite interesting to hear, because it just seems a bit of a fallacy when they've done so well with all the others. And we had the Thunderbird S for the first time as well in that series. So, they really did try hard with it. And I think it's a shame if, the kids of this day didn't get quite all the toys to, to sort of fill the set, if you like. But obviously it gave people like me a chance to rebuy all the stuff they never had when they were little. But, that's just me. It'd be interested in your thoughts on this one. I mean, to me, it looks pretty sort of show accurate. I don't know if I can get you. So I don't really want to open it unless I absolutely have to. It wasn't the most expensive. It wasn't the cheapest either. If you see what I mean. I'm just trying to get into the. I can just about catch a little glimpse of some detailing inside the cockpit, but I couldn't tell you exactly how accurate it or not it is in terms of show accuracy actually inside. But there's definitely a little. It's really hard to get this on the camera, but there is a little. I can spy a little red seat, which would be show accurate, just on the inside. But I don't think my camera will. You can see a little bit there, maybe. Very hard to pick up with the camera as it is. But I do like it. I think it would look like a really great little display piece. It looks like it would. One thing it doesn't have actually. One thing it doesn't have compared to the Matchbox. The Matchbox has these skis on the bottom of it, which this one definitely doesn't have. Now, that probably is a bit of an oversight because I think the skis are show accurate. So, but I guess this one was designed for bath play as much as anything else, so maybe they didn't anticipate it being used on land or standing up so much. But I just wonder how this would sit. It might sit on the wind-up motor bit there actually. So when you wind it up, it'll probably just sit on that. But still, I still think it looks like a really nice Stingray. I even think perhaps its lettering is better than the lettering on the Matchbox. That seems more like sort of font the show would have used. But again, I'm open to commentary on that one. But yeah, so that's the Vivid Imaginations Carlton Soundtech Stingray. I have no idea if it actually makes any sounds, or whether or not it's actually... Maybe it's just advertising Soundtech on the back of it. I bet it doesn't actually do any sounds. Because when you think about it, if it's going to go in the water, it can't really it won't have any batteries in, so it can't do sounds. Okay, so the marina style Stingray, which is therefore mute. But anyway, in any event, I still think that's a nice toy, and I bet the little Troy Tempest figures always got lost. So that's it for that one, and that is, I think, the end of my my sort of Gerry Anderson range that I have to show you at the moment, unless I pick up something random or I manage to get a very cheap JR21. That's your lot.